I'm going to share with you the number one thing you should be focusing on in the coming year to grow your business in an overly skeptical marketplace. Welcome back to another episode of #Winning It, your real gamer, CEO and Healthpreneur. And today I'm going to share with you a concept that I think is probably the most and the only thing that matters in today's day and age. So I was sharing a little bit of this from our Healthpreneur Live event a few weeks ago, and my opening talk was called the trust factor. It's basically the winning currency in an increasingly untrusting world. The winning currency to win in business. The problem that you've probably recognized in business, and you probably have this like in your own mind, is you don't trust anyone and no one trusts you. And if you look at a lot of the data around trust and trust indexes that are, I'm sure you can find this on the internet, we're at an all-time low over the past 40 years in terms of the trust index, the lowest we've ever been right now. And so what does that mean to your business? What it means is you're going to have a longer sales cycle. People are going to come in, they're going to become a lead, they're going to book a call with you, they're not going to buy because they don't trust you. They're going to stiff around, they're going to wait around, and they're looking for elements of proof and trust to give them more certainty that working with you is the best option. And all of this has been accelerated post-COVID. So if you're dealing with a lot of no-shows and people that are just flaky, like welcome to the world of kind of the current reality. Now, I'm not saying that needs to stay there. Like there are definitely things you can do to improve that. And I'm going to share a couple ideas with you in this video. But I want you to understand that this is it's a really good opportunity right now to start to separate yourself from everyone else, because everyone's complaining about stuff being harder. No shows, quality people showing up, people being skeptical. We can like play victim to that scenario for the rest of our lives if we want to, or we can just do something about it. So you've probably heard me say this before, is the more people pay, the more they pay attention, right? But there's a flip side to that, which is this, is that the more people pay attention to you, the more they're willing to pay you. So the one thing I think is more important now than ever before is to keep people on your brand as long as humanly possible. Now, I'm going to break this down and why this is important. 2 years ago, I sat down with my team and I said, I'm going to focus on YouTube. I really want us to do a better job because we had used it as a depository of videos. And we probably have hundreds or maybe even 1,000 videos on this channel. And 700 of them were basically just like no thought, nothing, just posted on YouTube. And we didn't get any traction, right? So we could probably remove all those and it would make a difference. But in the past one and a half to 2 years, we sat down and I said, listen, guys, I really, really, really believe we should focus on YouTube. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I could see the writing on the wall. And it just makes sense, right? What's the likelihood that someone's going to see your ad, they're going to click a link, they're going to go to some page and pay you money? It's so low. I'm going to come back to that in a second. However, with the team, I said, listen, we have a lot of that stuff in place, but if we're thinking long-term, we have to start building this brand and adding as much value into the marketplace as we possibly can. And I saw this happen in my first business, right? My first business, we built largely on the back of content, but it took me 7 years to make $1 million. It took me 7 weeks when I started Healthpreneur. So Healthpreneur started off as very, very ad driven, and it still is. We spend north of about $350,000, $400,000 a month in ads, and we're only going to scale that. And I still believe there's a major, major opportunity for continuing to run ads profitably. But the thing that's different now compared to before COVID was before COVID, it was a very linear process. Like you could track it. Attribution was like add, thingamajig, whether it's a lead magnet, webinar, whatever, into a sale. Now it's like ad. Let me open up a new browser, type in person or company's name, find some stuff, look them around, look them up, go to their website, go to YouTube, go all over the place, and then come back to the ad, click link, opt in, go through thing, sit there, receive some emails, start reaching out to random people that may have been clients and asking for feedback. This is now the landscape. And the reason this is happening is because when you have a very sophisticated marketplace, and I'll just use the example of business coaching, where every third ad you see is from another mentor, another guru, another coach saying this or that, it's very hard to know what to do. So in times of uncertainty, the herd follows the herd. No one's willing to step out because they're afraid of making the wrong decision. And so you as a brand, what you have to really think about is how do I become the most preeminent, valuable person in my space? Period. And I share this at Healthpreneur Live. The focus, the goal, if you want to win in business, is to be everywhere all the time forever. Be everywhere all the time forever. Be everywhere all the time forever. If you don't want to do that, please shut your business down now and go work for someone else. And I'm dead serious about this because you do not have what it takes to last in business in this overly competitive, highly skeptical market. And if you think you're just going to have a website or an online business to make passive income, you are absolutely fucking delusional. And I share this with all the love in my heart because you deserve to build something great that helps a lot of people, but do not expect anyone to give you anything just because you exist. I've been online since 2005 and I've done a lot of stuff since that time, but none of it matters. Every single day I have to get up and I have to earn my keep, just like you do. So when I see people coming into our worlds and they're like, yeah, like I want to make passive income. I'm like, dude, what fucking planet are you living on? That's not going to happen. You think you're just going to slap up a website or an offer and people are just going to like fall over and like interlap, here's $5,000. It's not going to happen. So number one is a little bit of a reset of your mindset of it is harder now to build a great business online. And it's always been hard. It's harder now because of what's happening. And on the flip side of that coin, it is so much easier because no one's willing to do anything beyond the basics to move their business ahead, right? And that's why I don't care if we have competitors in our space who I literally have coached. We have competitors who are clients who now do the same thing we do and have kind of ripped our model and teach it. People are like, doesn't that bother you? I'm like, I don't give a shit because the vision I have for where we're going with this business is so far superior to these little minnows, right? I want to build a business that extends beyond my life. So when I die in 100 years from now, Healthpreneur will still be going. Most of these people just want to make a couple dollars to retire. Okay? It's kindergarten. And I'm telling you, I'm not special or whatever. I'm just saying when you have a bigger vision, you are willing to do things that most other people are not willing to do because you're playing the long game. Most people are playing the short game. The short game looks like, I have a funnel and it must work. Man, it's not working. This internet thing doesn't work. No, you just suck at what it is you do and you have a short focus on what you're trying to achieve. You understand that like a funnel is one component. It's like an arm of your body. Oh, I have an arm. It doesn't work. Well, the arm needs to be attached to your torso, right? And that torso is also attached to another arm, which might be content or social media. And then you have a leg attached to your torso, and that might be email marketing. And you have another leg, which might be something else. Nothing in your business happens in isolation. It's very much like the human body, which I'm sure you know very well if you're part of this channel and this community, is you cannot treat an individual organ without affecting everything else. Like, is it normal that people have their gallbladder removed? No, it's not. Oh, tonsils, we have to remove those out of your body. It's not normal, right? Or just because it's been normalized, it doesn't mean it's natural. Because everything affects everything. Just like your body is holistic, so is your business. So when I say the single most important thing for you to do moving into the new year and beyond is to keep people on your brand, is to think about how do I continually show up and add value and create content so that people see me over and over and over again. And in so doing, I build goodwill. I show up consistently, which builds trust because I'm going to be around for a while. And because I'm top of mind, when people are ready to make the decision and move forward and solve their problem, they're more likely to choose me, you, because you're simply there. And that's the game you have to play. So like in our business, and again, this is another reason why I believe the perfect client pipeline is so powerful. Webinars don't work anymore. Is anyone going to watch a 45-minute presentation? Let me ask you this. When was the last time you sat down on your couch and watched a movie? It was probably within the last, year at some point. And was that movie longer than like an hour and a half or 2 hours? Probably. So just like it's a ridiculous statement. People don't have time to watch webinars. People don't have time to read long sales pages. Are you crazy? Like, all of these books back here take tens of hours to read. Do people not have time to read anymore? Don't make decisions based on what people who are 18 years old are doing on TikTok. Just because some kid is sitting on a toilet and scrolling like this and has no control over their own friggin' impulses doesn't mean that's the market you're serving. Okay? So here's the thing is when people have a dire need to solve a problem, they will go to the depths of the earth to make it happen. And that's why if you've watched my videos, you know, like I'm telling you, this is the same thing every time. The reason people don't want to work with you is because they don't give a shit about solving their problem. Oh, it's too much money. No, it's not. It's not too much money. You just don't give a shit. Or you don't trust me. Which one is it? That's it. Period. End of story every single time. I'm telling you, I've been at this for a long time. Okay? When people are seriously committed to solving a problem, they will watch a 7-hour webinar if they have to. They will read 500 emails. They will go to the depths of the internet to scroll through 20 pages to look for that one reason why you're not trustworthy. I promise you this, if you get people to stick on your brand longer, you will win. Now, I'm not saying you have to start a YouTube channel. You don't have to. And if you did, it's going to take a very long time to see traction from that. And if you want to, go for it. But you have to make sure that you have a baseline, a system that's already bringing customers or clients into your business. That's why none of our clients start on YouTube. They all start by building out a perfect client pipeline, installed it to their business. So now they have a predictable machine that works 90% on autopilot for them and starts to bring clients in. They build the skills that they have to build and they grow their business to several $100,000, $500,000, $1 million, and then they can layer other things on top. Just like us, when I started Healthpreneur, 3 years, we did nothing other than paid traffic to our perfect client pipeline. That's it. I had no Instagram, no podcast, no YouTube, nothing. 2 of my clients were like, hey, you should really consider Instagram. I'm like, I don't want to take pictures of my lunch. They're like, it's more than that. And I was like, fine. And I started at their recommendation 3.5 years after I started Healthpreneur. And now we have a team that supports all the stuff we do. But if you're a solo operation, like a solopreneur, and you're trying to do everything, you are toast. It's not possible. Okay? You can do anything, but you can't do everything at the same time. And so you really have to understand, this is why it's so important to have the right guidance and the right mentorship from someone who's actually done what it is you want to do. Because what a lot of newbies are suggesting out there is doing all this nonsense. And it's like, what are you talking about? You have to build the foundation. And when it gets uncomfortable because things aren't working out, you keep digging to build the skills to improve the foundation. You don't jump ship and try something new because you keep going back to ground zero and you haven't learned anything. And this is why 95% of all business owners go out of business the first couple of years, is because they don't have the stick-to-itness to stick to it. You have to get to it. You have to go through it. There is no easy way. Now, with a YouTube channel, so like, let's say you decided to start a YouTube channel. Go for it, by all means, and it doesn't have to be perfect. If you look at my earliest videos, they were shit compared to some of the videos we have now. And these videos will probably be shit compared to the ones we produce in the future. With that said, don't expect anything from content for the foreseeable future. And it depends on how you're measuring. How are you measuring the effectiveness of your content strategy? So when I told my team 2 years ago, I said, we're going to do YouTube 2 videos a week, period. And I don't care about the metrics. I shouldn't say I don't care about it, but I'm not in this to get clients from YouTube. I'm doing this because I would do this even if I never worked again. I love creating content and I love sharing the message. And I will do this because I love it. And I don't care what comes from this in the next 5 years. And that was the intention. Like, can you imagine you starting something? I mean, like if a client came in to work with us and like, hey man, I don't need to see anything for the first 5 years. I'd be like, holy shit, thank God. Right? Like finally, someone who kind of gets it. But I also understand that that's not the reality for most people. You need to grow your business and make money, etc. But when you're making money and you have the opportunity to build something like a YouTube channel, and you take the long-term horizon of like, I don't need to see anything from this for 5 to 10 years, but I know it's the right thing to do because in time it'll snowball. And what happened about a year ago, before our last Healthpreneur Live event last year, I was surprised by how many people became clients who were at the event who came from YouTube. And I was like, shit. They're like, yeah, man, that one hashtag winning video put me over the edge. or I've watched all of your videos, I've listened to all your podcasts. I was like, whoa, okay. So like I was starting to see the fruits of my labor way earlier than I was projecting. But I share this because just so you know, like I am all in on content. I will be doing this until I can't speak anymore, until I can't even show my face on camera anymore. And it's not because I want to make money. It's because I have this pull to just share my message, just like you do, I'm sure at some level. But I'm not suggesting you have to start a YouTube channel or blow up what you're doing and start something totally new. The idea here is to understand that in order for people to trust you, they have to spend more time with you. I'll probably create a video around this called the trust factor. It's a 4-step equation that basically shows you predictably how to build trust. But essentially, the more time people spend with you, the more they will trust you. And I was sharing this from stage where when you look at the elections, so in 2016, when Donald Trump was running against whoever else, Clinton or whoever, the amount of unpaid for media, so like media that was mentioning Trump, was $1.9 billion worth of free media. Clinton, 800 million. So Trump almost had 3 times as much free coverage because people just kept talking about him. And it doesn't even matter if it was negative because we know the outcome. And I'm telling you, like the amount of research around this, it's called the mere exposure effect. The mere exposure effect says we give preference to things that we see more often. This is why advertising is so powerful, right? I don't care if people leave negative comments on my ads. Hey, Baldy, blah, blah. I'm like, cool, delete, whatever, block. But the very fact that people see my ads over and over and over again, just that alone is the reason why we need to continue running ads over and over again, because we speak to so many people and we're like, hey, why are we talking now, not a year ago? Like, oh man, I just kept seeing your ads. And I was like, finally ready to do something. Cool. That's a great reminder of like, if I was not running ads and they wanted eventually to do something, they'd probably go somewhere else. And that's why I will never stop advertising. And you will continue to see more and more of my ads until you're dead, now, which I hope is way, way into the future. But that's my commitment to spreading this message. I will not stop until every single health professional and coach on the planet knows Healthpreneur as a brand. And I know if someone doesn't know, we haven't reached enough people, and I'll keep going and I'll keep going, I'll keep going. So a lot of this comes from that vision of like really thinking bigger, thinking long-term, extending your runway, and not worrying about making like X number of dollars passively by next month, which is short, like so short focused. So coming back to the perfect client pipeline and this whole concept of a 45 or 60 minute webinar, you tell me this, like if somebody opts in for a PDF, which is fine, 1-page cheat sheet, do you think time on brand is going to be greater there than if they watched a 60-minute webinar? No, right? So then the trade-off is, well, people want instant results and fast things that don't take up a lot of their time. So you'll have a lower conversion rate on the webinar in terms of people opting in the neighborhood of 25 to 35%. PDF, you might get a 50 to 60% opt-in rate. We run both, right? We're always testing stuff, okay? So I'm sharing stuff that we test. So we currently run a PDF that we're testing, and we have our webinar and some other stuff that we run. And we have a much higher conversion rate on the PDF. But I can promise you this, on the back end, the percentage of people who opt in to book a call with us from the PDF is like tiny compared to the webinar. Why? Because people who are going to invest their time will eventually invest their money. Not everyone, but a greater percentage. And so I really want you to challenge a lot of these ridiculous fallacies that just float around where, you know, people are busier than ever. Everyone's into short form content. It is such bullshit. I remember when I first came online and everyone was writing long form sales pages. And then there was this, you know, several years later, this whole shift towards, well, maybe people are not going to resonate. Like they're not going to listen to long form sales copy. They still do, right? I've received 30-page newsletter / sales document, sales page in the form of a newsletter in the mail. 30 pages. Do you think these companies would do that if it didn't work? No, of course they wouldn't. It works. And the reason it works for a greater percentage versus just a little cheat sheet is that the people who are wanting to solve a problem are going to invest the time to gather the intel and to go deeper into the process. And the deeper people go with you, the more they're going to trust you. The more they trust you, the more likely they'll work with you. So if you look at all of your competitors, to be honest, who cares, right? Just assume that most people are not going to play to the level you want to play at. They're not going to spend as much money on ads. They're not going to be at this for as long as you are. They're not going to create as much valuable content. And if you simply do the opposite of all that, so run ads, provide valuable content, and be everywhere all the time forever, you will win. You will win. Like just something as simple as sending 3 emails a week to your email list. Like you'd be surprised how many people come to work with us. I'm like, do you have an email list? No. Or like, yes. And I'm like, cool. When was the last time you emailed them? I don't know. Like, holy shit. Like if you just started emailing your list 3 times a week with something useful, your business would explode. Why? Because people see you. 2012, Obama against Romney. Obama spends close to $18 million in Facebook ads. Romney spends less than a third of that. Who won? Obama. It's all about visibility, okay? It's all about visibility because the very fact that you're visible, just that alone, based on the cognitive bias of the mere exposure effect, gets people to trust you. There is something about people seeing you over and over again that makes them believe that you will be here over and over again. So there's this element of certainty that you're not just this fly-by-night type of person. And so just to wrap all this up, what I'm hoping you're getting from this, it's not so much a tactical thing as it is a mindset shift. And if you're saying, hey, Yuri, this sounds like more work, so what? What are you going to do anyways? You're going to sit by the pool? You're going to go to the beach and just do nothing? You're going to sip margaritas until you want to put a fork in your eye? You're on this planet to add value to other people's lives. But let me be very clear about something. I'm not saying you should spend 80 hours a week working one-on-one with clients and patients. That is a complete waste of time. The vast majority of your work should be on marketing. And the reason for that is because marketing has the most leverage out of anything you'll do. This video is going to take, 20 minutes? This video I shoot for 20 minutes and it stays on the internet forever. If this video gets seen 1,000 times, that's 1,000 times, let's call the average duration of 10 minutes, 1,000 times 10 minutes. What's 1,000 times 10? 10,000 hours. 10,000 hours or 10,000 minutes, whatever the math is there, from a 20-minute initial investment. And instead of me repeating the same message 1,000,000 times, people who I've never known in my life will see this video and it will resonate with some, and then they'll go down the rabbit hole and watch another one and watch another one. Everything you do in marketing gives you the most leverage of anything you'll do in your business, aside from building out a curriculum that all of your clients will go through. But even then, you serve way more people in your marketing than you do in your program, right? The vast majority of people are never going to pay you money, right? 95% of your market's over here. 5% will pay you to become clients. So 95% of your market never sees inside. So if all the leverage is here and everything over here is just a grind, you have no leverage. Right? So right now, as I'm shooting this, we have lots of ads that are running. That's leverage. That's a 24/7 sales force working on my behalf. All of the videos on my YouTube channel, all of the content on my Instagram, the podcast, everything, all of that stuff is done once and it works forever. And there's nothing that drives me more crazy in my life than doing something once that is never going to be used or repurposed again. Everything I do is recorded, repurposed, and leveraged in some way, shape, or form at some point, because it's a waste of time otherwise. So all of this to say that if you are building out a good business, a solid business that's going to be here for a long time to come, look at it holistically. It's not just a funnel. It's not just one little tactic. It's the collective. And you don't have to do everything at first. Like you don't have to do everything at the same time. Please don't. You do one thing, you get it going. You get it dialed in. And then when you have bandwidth, you layer the second thing on. So for me, again, there was Perfect Client Pipeline, and then it was Instagram. And I didn't really do Instagram that well. And then I was like, you know what? Let's do YouTube. I love YouTube. So for me, that's the bread and butter. And I've noticed a very big difference in terms of the buy-in, if you will, of people watching our videos versus people just seeing our ads. Right? It's like, hey, I've watched 100 of your videos. That's a very different person than someone who's like, I think you're a con artist and a scammer. I saw a 5-second video of yours on Facebook, right? It's a very different person. So you have to tip the scale to get people to consume your stuff and come into your world, get the lead, add value, and continually do so until they leave or they buy. And so that's the mindset I want you to adopt, is this holistic view of your business. It's not just the funnel. It's not just the perfect client pipeline. It's not just the one tactic. It's the whole collective together. The more people pay attention to you, the more they're willing to pay you, and be willing to be everywhere all the time forever. Last month, I fired 5 people from our Healthpreneur team. I want to share in this video why that happened and what I learned from it, and specifically how it can benefit you as well.